course, it's not connected to my
It's still connected.
And there we go. Now it's going. Now it is.
Let's go.
Let's go. Fucking kill ourselves.
Oh yeah, blood vessels constrict, you sexy fucks.
Kitty fucking dies.
No, I fucking wish.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
It hurts. It hurts so much. Just looking at this opening text, it hurts already. Oh,
okay,
Lord.
the game's downloaded. Did you accept my friend request, Corper and Courier?
My friend request?
It's on GOG.
Oh, god damn it.
Okay, I'm back, sorry.
Alright, let's start this shit.
Fucking
Put my feet up this time because my snacks are on my table. So.
Hey,
I
sent your friend request, Courier. Just accept it.
So, okay. I'm not doing my big fancy lean back that I normally do. Instead, I'm gonna just be putting my feet up underneath my computer desk. I don't know why I'm switching into like an Alabama accent there, but.
You're gay! You're gay!
No, gay people aren't in Alabama.
You're a faggot!
It's the incestuous ones who are.
Are you going to play another round, Courier, or?
No, the reading is now.
The reading is now.
Damn it.
The reading is now, old man.
Oh, also, Poultry may have my smut done. Hold on.
Oh no.
Does he have my smut done?
No.
God damn it.
But the reading is now. Broken Fangs, Cyanide Sins, blah blah blah, same as usual, you know what to expect. We're on chapter 23. It's called Dinner and a Treat. Oh no.
Dinner and a tree, my favorite thing.
Oh no, he's doing the rhyme. He's doing the rhyme.
Brother.
A family dinner and Yang's treat for her master.
I have fallen, brother. Brother, why isn't that?
Brother, why
brother,
brother? Brother? Brother.
Brother.
Don't worry, brother. I'll show you the rabbits.
Author's note. I offer you, ellipses, the next chapter. I would rather you didn't. Jean allowed a small smile of encouragement on his face as he sat down next to his older sister, Artemis, Helena seated opposite of her, with Juniper as the eldest child in attendance seated right across from him. His father was seated at the end of the table, whilst his mother was at the other end, Auburn opposite of Argent. It had been nearly 4 hours since his father had said that they should get something to eat as a family, the food having been prepared for their meal with due diligence.
Oh no. Oh, I remember what fucking chapter this is.
Yes,
Oh no, that's not this chapter. That's
no.
not this chapter. There's something better in this chapter.
Oh no. And I do not know where anybody is seated because that description was fucking roundabout and terrible. Saffron had disappeared off to her room before dinner had been convened, citing a faintness of the heart, which wasn't unusual for her. She'd fainted at the sight of his blood-stained form, so it was completely normal for her to be like this. Her hair was loosely tied in a small ponytail, making her look a little more boyish. The tie that kept her hair in place clearly. A small ponytail making you look boyish. Really?
Why do you sound like you're struggling to read? Oh, wait.
Really? Boyish ponytail, huh?
Yeah, you know, like the Vikings.
Oh
Yeah, you know, like me, right now.
Yeah. Sorry. My
His
porn
body
is done. I'm
felt
very happy.
Tired and heavy, his eyes nearly shutting for a moment, until he heard his father speak up, Juniper looking a little at the members of the dinner table. What voice was I doing for his father? I don't even know. You know, I'm going with off-brand Kermit. I'm returning
Kermit,
home
you
every
don't.
one of you with me once more, except your oldest sister. Thank you, daughters, son, and wife, for being in my life.
Oh my god, Kitty, you gotta do the line of, hey, is this the way to town? It's back the way you came.
It's back to where you came.
Hey, is this the way you down?
Hey, is this the way down?
Back the way you came, chick.
John smiled knowing that his father was solemn when he said that. Every time he returned, they had something of a family dinner together, and he started with such a saying to show how happy he was that they were all still there. Not for long.
That sounds so ominous.
Right? It does!
It's like, oh, he's happy everyone's alive.
It sounds like
We're all still
expecting
here.
to come back and see them all fucking dead. It's like, Jesus, man.
No, I just imagine it like a fucking TV show where he's like, we're all still here, and then it fucking cuts over from John's face to like Auburn or something. She's like face down in her fucking soup bowl, dead.
No, it's just like, everyone's here and everyone's alive. Then you just hear the voiceover. It was the last time they'd see themselves together.
You know what?
And it got worse.
But it got worse. Later that year, his wife passed away.
Okay. I just had an idea for a scene that uses everything the same, except there's one change. Where the setting is horror. Psychological horror. Or the theme is psychological horror. And it's all from the mindset of Jean, who's just convincing himself they're all still alive, while it's rotting corpses sitting around the table.
Damn.
That sounds like something that would happen in fucking, not
Hello?
Monogatari. Higurashi when they cry.
I think it did. Actually.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, but I've heard plenty of stories.
My favorite scene was the crucifixion.
No, which one?
Yes.
Jean smiled knowing that his father... Okay, I read that. I love you... Wait. I love you too, Daddy. We all love you. Outside his father's smile. Rougher than it had been before, with all of them still hale and healthy. No.
Hale and healthy.
Hale and hearty. It had been stressing on the man, Juniper's situation and his own. John could understand, knowing that his father was someone who preferred to keep a personal stake in the lives of his family. What had happened
Like most
to
people
Aunt
do.
Olivia and Uncle Aaron had shaken the man more than he'd ever admit. His face showing nothing of that as the smile returned, Ash entering with the first course. It's been like 20 fucking years, mate. Get over it. Oh, it's actually probably been longer. Probably like 4 years.
But it feels like yesterday. Boo! I have feelings, apparently.
The smell of the soup was strong, something that was very powerful in flavor. His spoon dipping into the soup and tasting it. His father eating it slowly with a look on his face.
Why do you sound like you when you say that? Let's get right into the soup!
Let's get right into the soup. Maybe we should start doing actual fucking impressions.
Become King Star.
No, Corporate K, this isn't the fucking chapter. Thankfully, that's like 20 more chapters in,
Yeah,
and I
this
will
isn't
kill
Yo
myself.
Yakudan.
I will fucking kill myself when we get to it. Also, that's not
Please
Yakudan.
don't,
or
I'm
whatever.
gonna need you for a 40k game.
I was gonna say it's also not Yakudan because that's mother and daughter. This is father and son. So
Oh yeah, well,
Katie!
eventually.
Touch both!
They will eventually.
I mean, they're
One
spit
day.
roasting her, so no, probably not.
They're staring into each other's loving eyes.
They do that though. Yeah.
As he stood a few paces behind his father's seat, the woman standing at attention, his mother clearing her throat out after the soup had been eaten.
What thrilling dialogue.
So fucking wooden.
You know, Katie, you should not put so much life into it. You should read it like it's a green text.
Oh my god.
Be
Just have
me.
Microsoft Word read it.
Yeah, have Microsoft Word read it. It'd be a better experience. Put it on YouTube. That way we don't need to waste our breath.
Okay, this is just reinforcing our mental picture that it's just John making everything up in his head. And it's just
Yeah,
seated around the table. Because this is such a wooden fucking dialogue of like, yes, I love you, father. Yes, you
could
are
get
wonderful, daughters.
Yes, you could get the exact same amount of like emotional investment if you use that MLG voice, the robot voice that everybody uses for reading videos for green text. Same level of fucking like, emotional investment.
Yeah, that's like Microsoft Sam, some such. But yeah, it really is just creepy with how simple and wooden and lifeless the dialogue is.
Like, listen to this. I love you, my children and husband. Without you, my life would be dull and dreadful.
Nobody talks like that.
Literally,
That's
nobody
literally
talks like
Onision
that.
level. That's literally Onision level of understanding of how humans work.
I was about to say don't install Onision like that, but that implies that I ever defend Onision, so go right ahead.
Here's the thing, though. The justification.
That's the reason
for it
why I
is
used
that
him as
these
an
are all
example.
this is all formal speak. They're talking formally.
No.
No. This is not how people talk formally.
It's not how anyone talks. Formally
Exactly.
or informally.
Like, if you want to use...
Father, you seemed parched. You must consume nourishment.
Ah, son, yes, I will devour this food. Delicious, mother. Yum, 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 yum.
Like, this... If you want to write somebody speaking in a more formal way, you change their tone, you change the words they use, and you change how they carry themselves in the conversation. They'll have a flow to their words and how they talk, and when they talk, who they talk to.
No, that shit's hard, kitty. Fuck you.
Yeah, it requires you to actually think about
Hello,
the
fellow
characters.
humans.
Oh, human.
What you doing today, humans?
I'll probably be absent the chapter that Callie gets spit roasted, honestly, because
Why? We're gonna need you, obviously.
my heart can't take that. So
Anyways, the words were typically the ones a woman would say in a semi-formal occasion, his mother's eyes looking at him for a long moment before the soup had been cleared away by two of the domestic pots under his mother's stewardship. As some of you know, Jennifer had to go to the hospital this morning. There was an attempt on John's life by the Nevermore. Jennifer will never walk again. The spinal cord was damaged in the fight, so let us thank the gods for her survival. It's never the end as long as we draw breath.
So, question: we got soup that can repair your, we got soup that can repair your dick and balls. We got soup that can restore your virginity, and yet we're supposed to think that a bit spinal cord damage is gonna make her not walk ever again. All right.
because it's a plot point the author probably forgot about.
It's a fucking plot hole. He saw Juniper shrink in on herself, her eyes dull and lifeless. Her eyes meeting his for a moment. He expected to see blame, anger, and more in her eyes, but it was just lifelessness that he saw there. His sisters were looking at Juniper with mixed looks of sympathy and concern, just as he did before their attention went to him. Artemis and Helena merely watched
Oh,
him
those two
without
fuckers.
much emotion in their eyes. Saffron's head nodded short.
Oh yeah, they were set up for the horse rape earlier.
Didn't Saffron leave?
Hold on, I'm going back.
Woo!
Did she?
We need to go back in time, Marty.
We need to stop this creation.
No, she is there or whatever. Apparently, she just went to her room before the dinner or whatever. It's stupidly worded.
Fuck, Marty.
Ah,
Wait to play the shitty games, Marty.
to play the shitty games that suck ass. Anyway.
John was the victim of an assassination attempt earlier, though the sacrifice of one of the faunus that was with him and the assistance of a brave huntress in training and her faunus guardian, he is still with us. Let us thank the gods that it is so.
So your son almost got assassinated twice in one day. Good job there. You guys are so effective.
He looks
Almost like these guys.
sympathy. The way that his sisters looked at him was enough to make him feel the weight of their looks. Hold on. I just had an idea. If there was an assassination attempt in the morning, why the fuck would they let him walk around freely?
Let him go out, like, with barely any guards or whatever, to the fucking slave auction afterwards. Yeah, it's a giant plot hole, so.
You know how... Oh, go on.
That's so fucking stupid. I just assumed that it was, like, the next day.
Nope, it's the same day, the same morning. And like I
Alright.
said, it gets and like I said, it gets even stupider later on once you realize they have the entire Assassin's Creed order or whatever living underneath their house.
Yeah, it's not. It's
sole
just
goal
like
is to hurt them.
assassinations happen every day for these guys, so they just like kind of write it off as just like, you know, getting the paper boy throwing the paper at your head just happens, you know.
You good, Kitty?
No, he's having a stroke with how stupid this is.
Yeah, I was assuming that.
I'll go murder them.
Grab the hammer, use on them.
They wanted to hammer the walls, so I hammered their skulls.
Dum 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 dum. It's the virtue of living alone, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the virtue of people knowing not to fucking hammer things.
I'm just so glad to be blessed with such a big family, said the robot that doesn't know how humans speak.
Beep boop,
Okay,
feeling
why are you for
acquired.
the next 20
Beep
minutes?
boop, happy familial
Fine.
relation. Beep
Fine.
boop, unhappy familial relation.
Cab, shut the fuck up.
Hey, yeah, he was doing his thing. Come on.
I know.
Oh.
I'm going to do my thing now, though. Saffron
don't
were
be gay.
concerned. Argent and Juniper merely were giving him a vaguely affected look. Juniper's eyes less emotional than anything related to concern. Auburn gave him the biggest smile that she could, showing her happiness at him surviving. Artemis and Helena blank-faced and tired-looking. Blank-faced. Their hands folded and they spoke as one, the benediction to the god of light, watching how his sisters finished the words heavily, his father speaking them with that emotional tone to his voice, his mother sounding a lot more conflicted. Thank you. His mother's thanks were said softly as she unclasped her hands and mumbled a soft amen to nothing in particular. Just a ritual that she'd done year after year. It was something from her section of the kingdom, and it wasn't a bad thing. Hey, Jesus. I'm just so glad. Oh no, hold on, I have to do this one. I'm just so glad to be blessed with such a big family. His father was getting emotional again as Ash placed a hand on his shoulder in support. The glow of her aura was wrapping around him, his mother frowning at it, but not allowing herself to voice her commentary. Father needed Ash's support at times to keep himself level-headed, the faunus woman's face looking at the man with eyes that held some form of care that the woman could show. No, shit, she could show it. Thank you so much. They'd all known Ash for most of their life, and Father had said that she'd been around for a while. Ash herself had said that when she was... Ash had said that she was old. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's just, I'm blessed with you all. I love you, Azalea. I never want to have another wife. His mother coughed politely, clearly wishing to challenge that, her lips smoothing a little. His father looked at his wife and coughed. You asked Summer Rose to marry you, Arya, in full view of the upper class. You are lucky that all she did was embarrass you. The man looked embarrassed, his face flushing a little. Father looked like he was going to say something, giving a foolish smile. I was kind of drunk when I did that. You know me, Azalea. His mother's stare was cool, and she looked at him before the smile warmed, and her eyes closed with that smile that showed her love. Thank you so much. And of course, she denied you, as she should have. She has no business with a man like you, especially given that her daughter is going to be arriving here the day after tomorrow. His father's eyebrows shot up, his gaze shifting to him as he smiled. Dad might not know about his change in marriage partners, so he started to clarify. It'd be important to break the news generally. Dad might not have the emotional control to keep from crying. With the proposal that I made, it'd only be logical that she'd come to live here, Dad. His father got up and did a little fist pump. His mother and Ash mimicked each other's with their expression as his father started to give a little cheer, wrapped up in his enthusiasm. A slow shake of the head as Ash and Azalea continued to look at the man who was the faunus woman's owner and the woman's husband. No shit. His father's
Brian,
expression looking years younger. What do you say?
this poor bastard. He's about to
He
have
could
his
see
whole world broken.
Yeah. He could see Tara standing behind Saffron's chair silently, looking as any good attendant should, not showing a hint of her thoughts on his father's outburst. I knew that you'd have good sense. With Lady Rose's daughter as your fiancée, will control 2/3 of the council's seats in the huntsman forces. John wanted to correct his father, but his father looked so happy that he didn't. His mother just kept on shaking her head as his father did a little dance, clearly happy by the fact that he'd managed to rope in Ruby. Well, I think it'd be alright to leave out the fact I actually proposed to Summer. Dad might actually faint. That wouldn't be good for his father's blood pressure. His mother and John shared a look, and there was a moment when they reached an accord. Dad would remain ignorant of the truth for a bit until it was time. Mom was smart like that. Most of his sisters had a little smile on their lips as they looked at each other, amused at their father's happiness. Dad's been through enough shocks today. The man was a wonderful father, but emotional and a little too excited at some times. It didn't mean that he was weak, having the sensibilities to make sure that some legislation passed in order to keep the kingdom functioning as it should. Daddy, are you really happy? Auburn's voice cut through his father's joy, the man giving a soft smile, though there was pain in his eyes as he looked at his youngest daughter. John wondered if she'd be acting out again. His youngest sister was a little bit of a handful at times. I'm really happy indeed, Auburn. Auburn smiled at her father, giving him a look and a little wink, something afoot within his weird sister's mind. Cammy will be back in 10 days before the ball. She'll be grumpy, but she'll be happy to see you too. Remember the peaches and what you said, Daddy. Remember them and everything will be okay. Allow her. His father's eyes turned sad and he swallowed, his hand motioning to Ash behind him, as something seemed to course over his face. The next course, please, Ash. What's with the peaches? Auburn smiled as if she knew something that nobody else knew. His father's eyes were dark and the energy had drained out of him. His mother's looked worried at her husband, the fingers drumming on the tabletop as his hands kept busy, Ash moving with a slower gait. His father's eyes following the faunus as he let his gaze rest on Auburn for a moment. Camilla didn't say these weird things, but it was usually during the family dinner that Auburn would say those things. Little weird lines, things that didn't make sense, talking about the animals and what they might do. Ash listened, as did Camilla. He found her off-putting and weird, but she was still his sister. Saffron, can I borrow the thing in your third drawer for Saffron, can I borrow the thing in your third drawer for a week or two? I'd like to use it. I've got to give a present. Yes, lend it for me for 2 weeks. I'll bring it back. You should watch out with ice cream tonight. It's not good for your health. Saffron's features turned a little paler. Yeah, remember ice cream, by the way, as her disturbed look directed itself at her younger sister. She nodded slowly because this author is so fucking clever, her eyes never losing Auburn's features, burning with hesitation. Their mother looked a little uncertain as Auburn turned to her. She never really said much to Mother, maybe because Mother didn't really pay attention to her. Mother was the fondest of Saffron, the perfect little Harris. Don't worry, I won't tell you about the faunus that... Don't worry, I won't tell you and the faunus that you like to sleep with. Mommy? Azalea arced, looked at her youngest daughter, taking a deep breath and slowly exhaling. Her gaze never quite showing that interest. He remembered that feeling of disappointment, that moment when he'd seen the brief vision of what Camilla and Auburn had gone through when he was born. Yes, Auburn, a tense silence fell.
Why are you degenerate?
Tense silence fell. The twins were silent as always. Auburn's eyes clear, a big smile on her face. Daddy loves you the most. He'd rather be poor than lose you. He can't help it. It's just how he is. Don't fault him for his love. Daddy loves you more than you think. Have good sex tonight.
Hold up. Oh my god, that's actually in there.
It's actually in there. You're welcome.
Oh
Listen, Curry couldn't think of something so stupid to say in that situation, so perfectly timed on
It's so perfectly timed, yeah.
oh, Jesus Christ.
You're
have
welcome.
good sex tonight.
Have good sex night. Okay, I think you've
Have-
had a bit too much to drink.
Have the good copulation tonight.
Love is in the air tonight.
Hello. Can you feel it in the air?
I
Don't
can
worry,
feel it
John.
coming,
We'll go double
certainly.
team Callie later. Ha ha
No.
ha.
kill yourself right now. Just kill yourself. Just slit your own throat, Cap. Fuck you. A shudder went through each of the Ark siblings' bodies, sans Auburn, as their mother's lips pressed tightly together, his father giving a soft groan, the food being eaten with a little more delicateness to their emotions. The white rice had been cooked.
Delicateness to
Who
their
the
emotions.
Who
What
the
the
fuck? I was gonna say, who the fuck eats normal ass white rice? You
Hello.
fucking weirdos. Fuck you, kitty.
I
You're a
always
weirdo.
I eat yellow rice.
Yeah, yellow rice. If you're gonna eat rice plain, eat yellow rice, not fucking plain white rice. Fucking psychopaths.
You mean the golden rice that's enforced or reinforced with vitamin A? That's otherwise exactly the same.
You're a fucking psychopath. As the sweet and sour pork meat was delicious and chewy, Juniper eating calmly, as he was sat opposite of her, he could see the look on his sister's face, her gaze looking around, half eating and just looking. Wow, how detailed. I feel so guilty, Juniper. Did you take your medication yet, Auburn? Auburn nodded as Ash spoke up after a moment to confirm it. The aged woman stood behind his father's seat, her voice clear and deliberate in the words that she spoke, the woman's eyes looking away from the lady of the house as any major domo would. She has been medicated as per the standard dosages, Lady Ark. Azalea looked at her youngest daughter. John could tell that his mother was thinking something, a deep sigh coming from his mother's lips. What Auburn had just said was beyond the pale, but it wasn't something that he could deny. His father loved his mother a lot. Yeah, that's why you're going to be fucking Callie in 20 chapters. That they'd be intimate was natural. I wonder. He thought of lilac eyes with a set of golden feline I had a stroke reading that, sorry. He thought of lilac eyes with a set of golden feline eyes following after them. It was a duality, something that made him wonder what had blessed him to have such a loyal faunus like Yang and that little horrible brush of fate that Blake was. I hope she smooths out with her mother and when her mother and father come. I'm not going to suffer her attitude any longer. Yang had fought for him. Blake would be obedient, even if he had to force her. Yang was a good faunus. It was just so hard to think of her as an animal, barely sentient except for their uses and their training. He could imagine her as just a regular girl his age, smiling at him and loving him. She was just like Ruby, and he really hoped that they'd get along well. Sean, he snapped to attention, aware that someone had been talking to him, but not quite bringing his attention to the forefront once again. He snapped to attention, aware that someone had been talking to him, but not quite bringing his attention to the forefront once again. Okay. Noticing that his sister Juniper had spoken, her eyes looking into his own. Sorry, I was a miles away with my thoughts. I'm a little tired, what with. Juniper understood, at least that's what he got as an impression. Her fingers sliding over the armrests of her chair, she tried to get up, only realizing that she couldn't because her legs weren't able to support her. I love you, little brother. Don't forget that, okay? It was an odd way of saying that, but he loved her as well. She was his big sister, and he wasn't going to make her sadder than she already was. He gave her a warm smile, and she returned it with one that was more hesitant. I love you too, Junie. Thanks for watching over me. She nodded, giving him a smile that was warmer and more emotional than the others. Auburn continued to chatter on in the background, eating somewhat and then talking to another member of the family. She was talking about some of the nice paintings that she'd wanted to make, something technical that didn't really seem feasible, even with how the world worked. Thank you for the meal. His father mumbled softly something under his breath, something Mistralian, Ash looking a little stern as the others, except for his mother, mimicked it. He remembered the official Mistralian etiquette lessons, reminded of the fact that his father had been in Mistral before a few months ago. Do you want me to carry you to bed, Junie? His father was love and care as he asked Juniper's head moving once in acknowledgement. His father picking her up, carrying her away. His sisters left the table one by one. His mother following after his father, leaving him alone with Auburn and the house faunus attendants who started to clear the plates away. It had been Mistralian food, father's favorite. He'd heard that his uncle Aaron had preferred Valian cuisine, his other uncle Vacuin, and his father Mistralian. Okay, thanks for that.
I keep fucking hearing you say that. It keeps sounding like Australian, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just Australian. Would it really be bad to just say Mistral cuisine?
I was going to say
Australian?
No, I was going to say fucking menagerie would be more closer to Australia or whatever, except in Australia everyone there is badass sons of bitches or whatever, and fucking menagerie is not full of that, so. None of them seem to like Atlesian cuisine much, and in this story, I'm pretty sure the person compares Atlas to fucking Germany, so fuck you, German food is delicious, you cock. Perhaps a holdover from great-grandfather. Great-grandfather had fought against the Mantelian forces in the Great War, something that had made the world...
Mantle forces!
Yeah, it was Mantle
What would it
Atlas.
offer? Not just using mantle.
I don't know.
Just say mantle forces. Mantly forces sounds terrible.
Or Mantle
Mantelian.
forces. Mantelian, I don't fucking care.
Mantles. Just fucking mantle apostrophe S.
Yeah,
Easy.
mantles. Something that had made the world different. Slavery had been abolished back then afterwards, before the animals had
Fuck that.
rebelled and they were enslaved once again.
As they
It makes-
fucking deserve.
Well, that goes.
How did that turn out for you? It
How
makes
did that turn out?
it makes sense. Given animal freedom and it'll do horrible things. A good faunus is seen, not heard. Blake's face. I think you mean a good faunus is not seen nor heard, probably. Blake's face came to mind as he noticed that Auburn had disappeared from the seat she'd occupied. Feeling someone touch his arm, she looked concernedly into his eyes, her blue eyes focusing for a moment and then losing that focus. You can trust her, Jean. Auburn's voice was soft, an image of Yang coming to his mind. She had been there.
His eye.
It's mind's eye. I'm starting to fucking abbreviate things to save my sanity.
It's fine. This entire fanfic is just words.
Words.
She had been there, wonderful and brilliant and warm. His aura burned as he felt it well up from the depths of his soul. He wasn't helpless as Auburn's body leaned against his own. The little faunus queen will also understand. She doesn't know because nobody told her. She is ignorant, the little animal. All the respect she holds is that of her father, the deference for the panther, as well as her friendship with the ox and the tiger. Don't blame her. She knows not what she does. Auburn's voice was soft and mournful, more steady than before, as he could feel her hands slide up and down over his body, touching the edges of the wound. Her eyes warmer, she ran a finger over the rent tissue. Trust her, Jean. She's your little treasure. Yang is yours, completely. A world without you, she cannot think of it. She worships you. Isn't that nice? His older sister's smile was warmer as her forehead laid against his own, a peaceful expression coming to her face as she exhaled softly. She looked so young compared to him. It was as if he was the older brother rather than the younger one. He remembered the vision, Camilla's feelings. He felt how the tears came as he remembered the pain of those visions. Knowing that his sister Camilla hurt still inside. I think he means still hurt inside. I'm going to reread that sentence.
Hurt me up inside.
He felt how the tears came. He felt how the tears came as he remembered the pain of those visions, knowing that his sister Camilla still hurt inside. There you go, fucking sentence fixed. Fuck you. Auburn
Hurt inside still a very bad way of phrasing it.
Yeah, hurt still inside. That is a terrible way to phrase that. Auburn exhaled softly, the smell of summer in her shampoo clinging to her skin. He looked at her as her arms wrapped a little tighter around him, keeping him close. It's all the grand game of this world, little brother. A grand game of thrones and power. A game below the surface and above. A game of thrones, if you might say.
I was about to say, yeah, fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's your turn to play next, my little brother. Play, use, and move the pieces to win. Claim them before they are claimed. Wipe them from the board. One of her pawns is gone, thanks to your sunny slave, but there will be more. Deny her the power she craves, or your game will be over. Don't let the bastard queen claim the throne and power she so desires at the cost of your family. To repay the grudge that has sent her into shame as a bastard-born daughter. Manipulate the strings and make the world move for you. Show this world your glory and beauty and be worshipped by those who know your true wonderful nature, my little brother. You will never be alone again, little brother. Play the game and win, little brother. You don't deserve a cruel fate. You
Stop it!
You shuffle and stack in a gamble that may pay off. But how? Forecast rapidly changing.
Forecast rapidly? What is this? What the fuck is this?
It's not actually in there, Lau. I'm fucking joking.
I know, I'm just thinking, you little brother, shut up!
Shut the fuck up!
Bloody peasant!
Auburn's voice was sad, mourning, and with that hint of something more that she was telling below the surface as her hands wrapped around him. A soft kiss pressed to his lips, a feeling of melancholy from her as she smiled and the intelligence faded from her eyes. How do you see someone's intelligence fade from their eyes? Okay. Amazing.
Listen, I can see on somebody's face. It's just their intelligence just decreases. It's like when
Yeah, I
everyone
think
ever talks to Rhino, it's just their intelligence is minus,
Your eyes
minus,
glaze over.
Eyes glaze over, yeah.
your eyes glaze over. They start drifting apart, forming a dirt face. You start drooling.
As a giggle came from her lips, she wasn't acting like she was sane again, one of her fits undoubtedly. Daddy didn't like that, did he? She was back to being simple again, her eyes unhealthy and her body swaying a little as she got up again. His eyes watching as she hummed a soft little song, her moment of clarity gone. He hoped that she'd be all right as she started to hum the Three Little Faunus song about three faunus that were sent to die. A children's rhyme, but Auburn wasn't a child anymore. He felt bad for her and sad and scared as he got up from his seat and made his way out of the dining hall, going up the stairs towards Juniper's room. He had to apologize to her for making this happen to her. Hold on. Okay, the next section isn't very long either. I'll fucking read that. Fuck it.
Which part isn't very long?
I don't know. Yang watched the shivering form on the bed, seated. Oh,
Never
great.
mind, I know which part isn't long. It's the good parts.
I was gonna say I get to read the rape fun. Yang watched the shivering form on the bed, seated as she was next to Tara. What little pride that had remained in the faunus on the bed had faded in a mess of sweat and juices, legs parted and blood dripping from a ravaged hole as she watched the sick woman take her liberties with that body. A soft little whimper came as she rose from her seat, grabbing the tail and giving it a jerk. A gasp of pain was audible, but the slave didn't even have the strength to complain about it, just hanging her head. I think she's ready. Payback is a bitch. One of Kitty's twins wouldn't be screaming at her anymore. She just laid there, twitching and broken. The tears long since having gone out of her. She watched the woman tame the faunus for a bit, amused by the feeling of seeing the Malachite girl break. The whimpers had been there when the resistance had faded. As Saffron Ark's body had ravished the girl's sex. Marks were visible on the body as it laid there in desperate need of a wash. It reeked, just like the filth that the girl was. It seems so, Yang. Tara, or number 17 as she'd been born, spoke up. Her eyes were disapproving as she looked at the faunus on the bed, shivering at the words that had been spoken. Tara's fingers stroking over the pale back of the girl. The gag had been soaked in spittle and blood. Yang's eyes looking at the twin that she delivered to the degenerate woman. Well, good girl, you're going to be a good little bitch for me, won't you? A soft whimper, undoubtedly assent. The fight had gone out of the Malachite girl due to the drugs. Yang's fingers teasing over the matted hair and grabbing a hold of it. Dull green eyes looking at her with none of the fire that she'd seen in them before. Don't worry too much, little kitty. Tara looked at her with a resolute expression, straightening her maid uniform out a little. Yang smiled, remembering the faint click of the collar's mechanism when Saffron had activated it to see the twin tremble and quiver in fright. We will need to wash her. Mr. Saffron will be back. Yang didn't really care about that. She patted the cheek of the twin. She'd gotten her personal slave, and well, that mattered more to her than anything else. Tara was safe, or so she believed. Auburn's Ark's word came to her mind, and she hadn't been led astray yet. The master will love to see her perform her duties. She could teach the slave how to work a man's meat like a pro. It'd be her little present to the master, especially with how needy she felt. He'd nearly died. It had been an illusion, or so she thought, but the thought of losing him. He might. Master Jean is kind. He would like it if I was to. Yang could see her expression change as Tara grabbed the hair of the faunus girl on the bed and brought her face close to her. You do a better job, girl. Or you better do a good job, girl. Keep an Ark happy and you live to see the morning. Saffron was
Clear,
very happy.
stop. Kitty's echoing on him. Or you're echoing on Kitty.
Saffron wasn't very happy with you, girl.
This is bad comedy. Hey,
It was-
Cobra, I'm trying my best.
It was a verdict that Tara would keep, Yang knew. The gag had been loose for a moment to let Saffron hear the squeals of the girl, but had been an insult and unpleasant. A soft moan came from the girl as Tara gave a soft pat to the head. It seems we'll be going for dosage number 9. Don't worry, you just need to obey. You know you're not supposed to give people, like, more drugs in a certain amount of time period, right?
You just fucking double up the dose. It'll be okay.
I was gonna say, I don't know how is she not dead if she's had, like, 9 doses of aphrodisiacs in, like, an hour.
Listen,
probably.
look at all the weird shit that's gone down this. Look at all the weird shit that's gone down so far. This is like the least offensive one to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just wait until Argent dies of a heroin overdose, and you think I'm kidding? No, I'm not. The moan from the faunus and the gush of juices that came from the potent stuff that was being injected was like a savage pleasure as Yang looked at the body of the faunus, writhing in joy and pleasure. Thank you for accepting my suggestion. Tara looked at her and gave her a soft smile, entirely contrary to the actions that she did. Her fingers pulling the syringe out of the case and then emptying it into the faunus. It wasn't done with efficiency, but the body merely twitched a little. I love her. I love the young master. For their happiness, we're going to make sure that Master Jean has a very pleasant evening tonight, Yang. A slave needs to show her owner that they'll be worthy of respect. The eyes that looked down on the Malachite girl was cool and frosty as Yang looked down at her prey, a savage grin on her face. It was unheard of for a faunus to have a slave of their own, but she posed that she'd just gotten one, with a collar around her neck. She looked at the hard collar and tugged it a little, the tail flicking back and forth a little. She watched how the faunus girl twitched, the smell of sweat and juices in the air like a rancid fog. Yang looked at Tara, who pulled out a set of disinfectant wipes from somewhere. Mr. Saffron stocks these ups for when Mr. Saffron stocks these for when her pets get dirty. I bet she does. The door opened and the aforementioned woman appeared, dressed for dinner, rummaging around in one of the drawers and pulling something out, looking at it for a moment and then picking it up. Yang merely watched impassively, the woman giving her a look but ignoring her. Mr. Saffron, the woman's attention went to her pet, her attendant, whatever Tara was called by the woman. Tired blue eyes looking at her personal attendant, the woman's fingers stroking over the smooth shape, the ridges on it looking dangerous. I'll be back. You... Heavy-lidded eyes looked at the faunus on the bed, and a sick smile spread over her face as the woman couldn't resist the urge to go and caress the cheek. Don't call my little Tara a mutt ever again. You're just a worthless animal, after all. She's better than you, little animal. She's mine. Yang cleared her throat, the woman looking up, something still writhing in those eyes, a sickness and degeneracy within them. There was yielding, satiety. Wait, what? There was... Kitty, what the fuck is this? There was yielding, satiety that was within those eyes. Satiety.
Yeah, satiety is in satiated. No longer
Christ.
hungry.
Okay.
Satisfied.
Someone fucking pulled out a thesaurus. Thank you so much. That was within those eyes, the malevolent impulses restrained by the pleasure that the woman craved. I want the slave for my master's pleasure tonight, Lady Saffron. Features smoothed and a smile came to the woman's lips as she nodded. A hand grabbed the tail and the woman tugged. There was a scream muffled from the faunus at the pain, as the savage look on the woman's face was turned to the faunus on the bed. Aren't you lucky, little mongrel? So lucky to be relieved for a bit. Oh well, we'll continue, my little toy. Yes, yes, and... Yang tuned out the woman, shifting a little in her outfit as the words started to be hissed at the captive faunus. She could see the sickness in those eyes, terror rising from her position to lightly guide her mistress away. Fuck you, little kitty bitch. She spat onto the back of the faunus on the bed before she walked, halting for a moment, Saffron Arc having stopped her torment of the faunus. Is there something you need for my brother's enjoyment? She nodded. It would be best, she knew, if things were properly arranged. The master required the best of feelings, the loveliest of sensations. She was going to make him come. The little slave feeling how the master was great. Is there a silken blindfold that I may use? The woman closed her eyes for a moment in thought before she nodded. Fourth drawer to the right. Tara, come. We should deliver her little thing. I need to retire early tonight. I hate the sight of blood. Yeah, except you fucking apparently fuck your faunus until they get like bloody or whatever, so I guess you don't hate the sight of
No,
blood.
it's just the virgin blood leaking out of her mouth for some reason.
I don't fucking know. I was gonna say there's blood in her mouth, blood on her back from scratches, blood dripping out of her fucking ass and vagina.
Blood for the blood shot!
I was gonna say blood everywhere, but it was fucking... yeah, she really does hate the sight of blood, sure, whatever you say there, you fucking psychopath. That thing looks like it hurt someone. What the hell could the woman need a strap on that large for? It's not going anywhere near me. She searched the drawer, finding several lengths of silken material that could be fashioned into a blindfold. The smile on her lips was wonderful as she looked at the soft cloth. She glanced through the materials that the woman had in her little den of vice. Some nice massage oil. The master wouldn't be sad anymore. His Yang was going to make sure that he felt really good. Looking down at the body of the Malachite twin that was still twitching and muffled in her moaning, she smacked the girl's ass. All it requires is an obedient slave, and you'll be very obedient to your master, won't you? Perhaps she should get a branding iron, heat it up, and make sure that one of the twins was a little more distinct. That way, perhaps she could distinguish them. You can distinguish them, though. One has a tail, and one has ears. Not that fucking hard. It was a real pity that Master Jean would never behold a lowly slave like this, but that made it all the better. Her finger drawing a long line over the back, blood welling up where her finger pierced the skin. The girl whimpered and came, the sensitivity of her body pumped up by the drugs in her system. Yang didn't really care as the girl wet herself, sagging onto the bed. I guess she'll be upset. I guess this might just be a little respite for you, little kitten. The master will not suffer as long as I live. Okay, your turn now, kitty.
Why would you make that comment that makes no fucking sense and has no place?
No, it doesn't.
None of this has any place.
I'm gonna go get some Tylenol. I'll be back.
It has no
Understandable.
place in this world. It has no place in this planet, or this universe, nor this galaxy. It must be burned, purged in holy fire. Hans, get the
Hans?
Flammenwerfer.
Wer ist der Flammenwerfer, Hans? Hans?
I don't know what you guys are on about. I just listening to the music and watching memes.
Hey, I'm playing Persona, so whilst listening, so I'm having something visually pleasing to my eyes, meanwhile something audibly disgusting in my ears.
I'm just.
You
talking
know,
about books.
I just whenever you guys do this shit, I mostly just sit here and clean my guns.
3 extra strength Tylenol later, and I'm back.
That's not good for you, dude.
It's fine.
He
Wait,
won't
wait,
OD, it's
Wait,
just
no.
sitting in his-
Tylenol
He
is not the one
won't
that fucks
OD,
up.
he can't
No,
do it.
Tylenol is not the one that fucks up your kidneys and liver, right? That's aspirin that does that, right?
No, that's
Tylenol.
Tylenol, but only if you have more than 2,500 milligrams. I took 1,500. I'm fine.
Okay.
Did you know if you eat like 35,000 bananas in like 5 minutes, you'll die from radiation? That's the
Radiation
same level of that comment.
Yeah.
You'd have to take like 4 pills to go into OD, and even then, chances are he'd be fine. His liver wouldn't shut down. It would have to go a few doses higher.
Yeah, the overdose is gonna kill you.
Anyways, John entered his bedroom. Juniper What? John entered his bedroom. Juniper seated in her bed. His father looking up from the chair at the bedside. Mother.
No, it's not his bedroom then, is it?
Mother got up and looked worriedly at him.
So it's like a bunk bed room?
No,
Why is
no, it's not.
everybody in his room?
Why is everyone sitting there? Just waiting for him? Menacingly.
Stop! You've broken the law. It's like, out of fucking nowhere, they're all just sitting there in his room. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. It's so weird. Are you okay, Don? Perhaps you should lie down and have a bit of a rest. You've been through a lot today. His father looked at him. Hey, son, why don't you go to sleep? We'll all be here watching you.
No, yeah, I was gonna say go to fucking bed. You've been through a lot today, like fucking dying and coming back from the dead, like Jesus fucking Christ. So
Hey, some people just refuse to go to bed no matter what happens. I'm sure Kyria can relate.
hi everyone.
His father looked at him. Juniper gave him concerned glances. Her gaze down once again, a gloomy demeanor burning in her eyes, her body shifting slightly to the side as she twisted a look in her eyes, and her legs did not function at all. Again,
Yeah,
this is his bedroom.
No, I was going to say it's actually. I'm pretty sure it's Juniper's bedroom. I think.
Oh, it
I don't know.
totally is, but going by what's written, it's his
Yeah.
bedroom.
It's his
And they just
bedroom,
put her bed into his bedroom.
because the author is retarded. Yeah. Rip Kitty, he died. The Broken
No,
Fangs.
this isn't even this isn't even that bad compared to some of the other shit. It wasn't a look most people in formal society saw, but more something private. His father's face was sterner now as he seemed to have regained his equilibrium again. We'll head to our room. Your mother and I have discussions to hold. Much
How
has
many
happened in my absence, and his father looked hesitant, a look that was like he'd seen it before the visions. Before during the visions, it had been in the past, and Jean felt that rush go through him.
What, did you get an erection?
Oh, of course. What, you don't get erections when you're looking at your dad?
I mean, that would explain Callie later on. That would certainly explain that.
You could, I mean, if you want to go down that 4chan route, you could always give the perfume your dad's using on your girlfriend, so whenever you smell your dad, you can just get a boner.
Unironically, Alucard's
People need
line
to
from
die.
Abridged of their family relationship can be best described as tags on Pornhub is very accurate here.
I mean, it's literally tags from Pornhub, so literally.
Oh yeah, this fucking thing has actual Pornhub tags on it, so... Anyways.
You want to see a dead body, bitches?
I already have, it's not that interesting anymore.
Oh.
Dead bodies aren't that interesting. Live twitching bodies, though.
Yes.
That interesting unless you break the dead body's jaw, so.
Alright, Kyrian. We don't need to know your sensation of breaking jaws.
Okay, let me just fucking continue reading here.
Alright.
We'll need to talk as well, Father. I'd like to show you my funness. His father's eyes turned darker as a look of actual frustration came to his face. There was something on that face that didn't change, the eyes turning much colder as they sharpened. Okay. His father was able to remain composed when he was angry. They've met the daughter of the panther, prideful and stubborn. Oh, I guess he's not happy. The man's eyes darkened, a low hiss coming from his mouth as dark blue eyes regarded him. His mother shifted a little. She didn't like to see Dad when he was angry because it frightened her. His eyes having that quality in them that made her feel uncomfortable. Not like her grandfather at all, a girl besotted with fantasies and wishes. His father exhaled. This smile returned to his face. A touch to his eye. A light touch to... Okay, so he's physically touching his eyes.
Impossible, but okay.
Don't you just shove your hands into your eyeballs and just go scratch, scratch?
Totally.
Also, it's not physically impossible. It's just not comfortable at all.
Oh, I know it's possible. I'm just saying, don't you do that?
Yeah, I know that. I was making a joke because you have the natural reflex even when you put your own finger near your eye automatically closes. So it's a fucking
Not
reflex
here.
hardwired into human beings. But I guess John's dad isn't a human being. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm touching my eye right now.
Okay, stop doing it, kitty. Thank you. Fucking psychopath.
I know I'm weird. Morphine barely affects me, and all other drugs are just useless, so...
Okay.
The drugs do not harm me, Morty!
Come on, Doc, the drugs don't get me... high, I need something stronger, man. Dude, we're putting fentanyl in you. It's not doing anything! Anyways. I said there was another that you brought. Show me her tomorrow evening, alright? Father has some work to do.
Right now.
Why is he talking in third person? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. His father gave his mother a look that made him feel a little sick. It was a look that he'd seen before, and his mother's cheeks turned red. That definitely meant that his father and mother would be intimate again. It was lucky that their rooms were on the other side of the house, because the sound of his parents doing that would undoubtedly haunt him. Come on, it's not that bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The sound of your fucking parents having sex haunts you, but looking into your dad's eyes as you both spit roast a MILF doesn't haunt you. Okay. Alright.
I mean,
okay.
I bet it haunts him hornily.
Everyone in the story needs to die.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Okie dokie. And we've got some catching up to do in the morning about the assassination attempt. Juniper, we'll do whatever we can, my dear. This isn't the end. We'll simply have to make sure that you can walk again. But she'll be your nice little crippled potato. You horny little potato.
Hey, listen, the crippled ones can't run away and they're cheaper.
Look, look, look. She'll be your slutty little vegetable.
Satan guide my cock.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Evil is not enough to describe the nature of this work. Or the nature of my penis.
Or the nature of cyanide sense.
Oh no. That is too difficult to describe in its entirety. Juniper looked sad as their parents left the room, their mother giving her daughter a soft kick to the cheek. It was perhaps a thing that showed the love that their parents had for each other, but it didn't mean that there was much like for their affectionate behavior. Okay. Their children are in their 20s. Why are they being treated like children? Like
Because they're children.
pubescent, prepubescent children. I
Fuck you.
don't understand. I don't get it. I can't process this. It makes no.
It would not surprise me if it's one of cyanide sense fetishes.
Infantilization? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Considering the dialogue. Reno asks, why is this story so long? What the fuck?
Because it is.
Words.
I'm sorry, Juniper. I'm never wanted this to happen to you. Juniper's eyes looked at him. He felt a powerful wave of sadness inside him, and she smiled at him. That same encouraging smile she always wore when she wanted him to be better. It's okay, John. We can't really decide when we meet something that's not able to be surpassed. I don't blame you. Period. She did. He could see it in her eyes. He could feel it in her eyes. Yeah, because he's touching her eyeballs now.
He's just touching it, licking it, fucking it.
It wasn't fair that she had her legs taken from her. They still exist, it's just your spine doesn't work, you stupid whore.
He makes it sound like they just chopped them off.
Also, I was gonna say also, how come her fucking magical bullshit aura doesn't repair it?
No idea.
I was gonna say because Aura can't regenerate like missing limbs or repair like missing limbs evidently, but her spine isn't missing, it's just damaged, so...
It's just been severed.
I was gonna say, all you have to do is just reattach the fucking nerve endings or like push them up against each other and Aura will magically fucking fix it. There you go.
Literally, the fucking plot hole can be fixed by you actually applying the mechanics of the world.
No. Fuck you, Corper.
Juniper's face showed a little worry, a soft groan coming from her lips as she pushed her legs a little, trying to adjust
Fuck
herself.
you, Corper. Suck my dick. You fucking cocksucking piece of shit.
Please calm down with the homo energies.
Cease with your faggotry. How long until the end? Too long.
No.
No. Yeah. Corporate, in 42 weeks, we may be free. Unless you guys want to read faster.
Okay, I'm
Good luck
reading
with that.
a fifth of a fucking full fucking novel.
I'm kidding,
Do
I'm
not
kidding.
move faster than this. If you
Imagine
went with
all-
me, you'd still be safe. Jennifer looked up at him when the smile broke. As her eyes looked down, the soft sound of a sob coming from her lips, the tears coming from her eyes. It's better than dead, isn't it? You're still alive, John. Your Faunus, the blonde one, she protected you, didn't she? He nodded as his older sister's tears came, Juniper's body shivering a little as her shoulders quivered. Her eyes were moist, and he wanted to give her a hug to show that he cared for her, but didn't know whether she'd want that. Anger flashed in her eyes as she tried to get up, trying to push herself up. She wore a thin night that she usually wore to bed, and her father made her comfortable, her eyes softening in their heated anger. John, come sit next to me a bit, please. Oh, I know what's coming. I think I know what's coming. He did just as she asked. Sitting next to his sister. The smell of heavy perfume clung to her, something that his mother had undoubtedly sprayed on her because it was her scent. Juniper's hand grabbed his own, a strong grip. Show me your wound, okay? Just a little bit. He didn't know why, but he shed his shirt and showed her his chest. The mark was still there, a reminder, the skin looking a little less raw, slowly on the mend. Aura was something that was great, he knew. Can you stand in the middle of the room? He did as he asked, looking back at her and making a turn-around gesture with the finger, which he did. Her expression
Tell me that
heavy as she
ass.
did, before she motioned for him to get back to her. She started before her smile turned brighter, looking like the sun was breaking through the clouds. I'm happy you're still alive. Mom would have...
Waiting for it.
Every time I see it, I just laugh. I can't help it. Oh my god, it's so stupid. Mom would have died inside if you died. She loves you so much, and I remember the screaming that she did when you were born. It was so much blood. Oh my god.
You ever seen a baby be born? I mean, it's not really blood, it's amniotic fluid. Mostly.
And, well, there's also some tearing that goes on, and some of the uteral fluid is, or not uteral fluid, some of the uteral lining is also shed. But
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking disgusting, but it's not like looking at a fucking gaping chest
it's
wound
not
disgusting.
a horror scene.
I mean, unless you're like 13 and you're seeing it for the first time in sex ed class, it may as well be a horror scene in that case. So.
Yeah. Tears came from her eyes as the smile just kept blazing like the sun, tears leaking down her cheeks. Juniper's eyes closed as she exhaled with a shiver, the smile turning brighter, leaking tears over her cheeks. She was so happy that you were alive. When Auburn started to talk about how happy she was to see her little brother, Father cried. Auburn, Camellia used her semblance on her. Juniper's eyes opened, and the eyes looked really sad for an instant, a hand wiping over her cheeks and coming away wet with tears. She wanted to hold her, and I had it for Auburn. I never told Mother, but she was still my big sister. I didn't see anything wrong with it, but she's like this now. Cammy blames herself so much. Auburn can't be faulted for what she says, and I want you to know that. He could understand that. Auburn was, ellipsis, different. You don't fucking say. You will not forget the racism of Sparta. Nope, no we won't. Cammy blamed herself. Nah. Auburn was different. He looked at his sister, who didn't seem to be stopping with the tears. Has she touched you too?
Rip kitty. Yes, indeed, she's touched me too. In all the naughty spots.
Oh my god. Has she touched you too? Oh yes, sister. I touched her very much. We were heavy on the skin on skin, and they bounced a lot.
Don't worry, Juniper, you'll be wanting to have John stick his dick inside you soon enough.
Yeah, probably like 3 paragraphs.
3 paragraphs.
A small nod as his sister leaned against him. She sounded like the world was a bad place as her body seemed to freeze up. It wasn't something that happened. She touched Auburn and Mother got really upset, and so I touched her bare hands when she was sleeping. She used to not wear gloves when she was younger. She awoke and pulled away, but Juniper's arm pulled him close as she shivered. His older sister's tears not quite stopping. I saw a vision where she was speaking through the vital assembly, arguing a case for abolition. Powerful. When she spoke, outlining the differences between humanity and the faunas, that we could work together. Her hands were perfect, unmarred by damage. It was. Try to imagine it. Animals being treated as equals. They exist to serve because they betrayed us. It's. His sister's head shook softly. She sighed softly. No, she's gonna sigh hard and fast and strong. A weary
She's gonna sigh really hard, like moaning.
A weary sound that explodes. How does a soft sigh explode from one's lips?
It doesn't.
No, it's like.
I think you mean like an exasperated sigh, like a type of thing.
I'm just thinking they hate a corp because he told the truth. It's time to end this.
No, we hate you because you're fucking
Gay.
a coward and a gay.
We hate you because you are neat.
Fell in line, and I didn't know he hadn't even been born. Auburn was young and rather hated her for stillbirth. I didn't. Paragraphs.
Humans. How did it work?
I mean, little kids kiss their parents on the lips or whatever, but
He looked awkwardly at her, Juniper's smile turning a little.
no.
Give your little sister a kiss, baby.
Give your big sister a long, hard dicking
Or
so that
cock.
she feels better.
Yes.
He still had fat arms pulling him close under her lips and against his
Pulling her
arm, so
tighter into that
intimate
fucking
under other
pussy.
Under other circumstances. Under other circumstances, you say. But it was just a kiss, her head pulling away from him, a wavering smile on her lips. I wanted to feel what it's like. I've got a good bottle of liquor in my closet. Do you think you could pick it up and give me a glass to go with it? I'd like to remember the good times. Don't worry, babe. Don't worry, babe. You got good times coming your way.
Why did you take on this accent all of a sudden?
I don't know.
Tell me.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby girl.
Come on, baby. We gotta go right to this 6. All the way there. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna go right through this pedophile registration ring. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. She spoke softly. Fuck my life. She spoke softly as he fetched the bottle of spirits. It was good vintage, something expensive and strong that seemed to make him feel awkward about pouring her glass. Why do you feel awkward about pouring glasses of the good stuff, you fucking pussy?
Weirdo.
Yeah, he didn't fucking get any objections to face fucking his sister, so, you know.
You know what? Okay. You know what the greatest thing I've ever had experienced in a bar? An inexperienced bartender.
Oof. Damn.
No, it's great because I'll order a glass of like some really nice liquor and they'll pour an entire glass. So it'll be like normally it'd be like 2 ounces, 2.5 ounces, right? A shot. Instead, it's just the entire glass. And like tall glasses too. It's like, oh my god, yes!
glorious incompetency.
Half a bottle this girl is giving me. like $50 of liquor. For
Oh, of course it's a woman giving you that.
Oh, they always hire female bartenders.
Really?
Yep. Unless you're going to a specific kind of bar, like dance bars that usually have men. But your average bar, it'll be a chick running the counter with a guy in the back doing the food prep.
Yep.
Good to know.
Because the girl is the face of the operation. You want to have a cute woman there to entice drunk men to continue buying.
Mm-hmm. Or you can have a bro there, alternatively, if you have a bro-ish guy.
Oh, you've
Being
got a guy who's just a pure bro sitting there, you'll get just as much profits and have just as great of margins as if you had a cute woman. But getting that bro is much more difficult than getting a decently attractive woman, even if she's slightly horse-faced. I mean, look at AOC. She was a bartender.
And that bitch could eat an apple through a fucking fence.
Yep. Like, most of family. Wait, he sat down again. The glass half emptied from her first. Jesus, girl, you drink fast. The older sister that he always lovely called Junie, like most of his family did, unless they were in public, giving a soft sound, handing him the glass. A drink, little brother. You're going to become strong. Don't forget about me when you're standing in council hall. He wouldn't, of course. He loved his older sisters, even Auburn, and her odd antics. Are you sure about that, buddy? Why should I forget about you, Juniper? You're still alive. I love you.
Oh yeah, you only think about people as long as they're alive. You don't think about people that are dead.
Look, lol, object permanence is hard, okay?
Yeah, my grandfather was freaking dead. The moment he died, I was like, oh, what's that? I wonder who that was. I wonder who that was.
Painting. Oh, it's your grandfather. Huh. Walks by the next week. Huh, who's that guy in the
You
painting?
You were part of his funeral. Oh, who is he?
Oh, who is that guy? John, I told you this last week. Huh? I don't remember that. Walks by 2 weeks later. Huh, who's that guy in the painting? God damn it!
This really does sound like something from a Game of Thrones where that really is the object permanence, because that was very fucked.
Well, there's also no object permanence, because even with the dead, they don't stay fucking dead unless the plot demands it.
Alright. But he also forgets what he wanted to do with a character like Lady Stoneheart.
Or the author will realize he wrote himself into a fucking hole, and it's like, oh shit, I have to bring back Lannister again. This is like the third fucking time I've done it now. Fuck, they're gonna notice. I love all of you, and I know that you'll be there to watch me become a counselor. Where do you want to be a counselor? Become king. I'll make Vale greater than it's ever been.
I'll make Vale great again.
He could use the status of his wife-to-be to influence the Huntsman, committing his management of the FMB to push forth legislation. The counselors may be elected, but that didn't mean that those who held power were wholly without their options. The headmaster of Beacon would have a seat on the council as well, but he could make the world a better place for the people. So I gotta wonder, how the fuck does their family make money?
I don't know. They just have it. It's never explained how.
Because, like, a common thing with feudal nobles is that they always had multiple businesses. Like, they had to, because how else could they sustain their fucking estates?
Well, mostly because every industry was very volatile at the time.
True.
The idea of a stable income only been a very recent and 19th, 20th century thing.
Yeah. And then, like, your entire tax income could be cut off overnight if you had a crop burning, or lightning strikes overnight, or, like, famine hits. Then you're fucked.
Of course, that's not to say that there was no staple thing that made money. Of course, there's always going to be stuff that's always going to sell.
Oh, mining for silver,
yeah.
gold, easy.
Mining, wood cutting is always going to make a penny, no matter which time it is. Just general stuff like that, always going to make money. But the industry itself could burn overnight if a large area started cut rot, or animals went the wrong way and just ate all your food, if lightning struck your house and burned down your entire area, etc., etc.
Oh yeah, you could be fucked overnight. So the fact that they don't have any businesses or talk of any businesses is just so weird.
Well, it speaks to an ignorance.
Yep. Drink, little brother. A soft hiss as she motioned for him to drink the alcohol. He took the glass and drank, looking at his sister, whose eyes looked at him. Father, he's too old to take that route. Council has been elected, and wealthy of the political capital. Camellia can't officially vote him in. Her power is too limited for that move, but you, with an older primary wife and taking Ruby as your second, you should be able to. He didn't quite know what she meant. Juniper's eyes looking at him as she poured herself another drink. It was right. The touch to the glass, a clear ringing sound coming from it as she held it up, lightly rolling it in her grip. and the fondness you love. It's so silly. Nobody pays attention to the truths and problem. Saffron lies all the time, trying to hide what she feels and acting as she should, but it's a mess, Jean. The Mongols hate us. They wish to exterminate us for what we did, simply because of the virtue of being born. When I look into your blonde pet's eyes, I knew. Her blonde hair was brushed through with a hand, his older sister giving a light murmur in the back of her throat. It sounded something like a curse, but he wasn't sure. She's young, that's what she is. Camellia could probably explain it better than me. She hates the fondness more than we do. You're blonde, she. Never mind. It wouldn't matter much in the long run. Her eyes looked really sad for a moment as she raised the glass again, looking at him. The glass filled again. It might be the heaviness of his body that he felt all of a sudden. What a lightweight! The weight of his limbs pressing down on him, but he caught Juniper's eyes for a moment. Ash will make sure that you're safe, Sean. She's old. His sister's eyes looked clear as she pointed towards the bookshelf that had been installed, a lot of thick volumes atop it. Could you get me The Art of Warfare by...
So we got Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu's canon in this universe too.
It isn't Sun Tzu, it's
Bai Ming.
yeah.
It's Bai Ming.
And also Bai Ming is actually Ash, but you don't find that out until later because it's a big reveal or something. I don't know.
What's with this often just making quote-unquote big reveals that fucking nothing burgers?
It's the thick one with the blue cover. The Art of War? I'd like to have something to read. And if you could go to the music player and turn it on and get the 5th disc from the rack. Jean got up and walked to the rack, selecting the 5th disc, pushing it into the music player and hearing the soft thrum of a few violins. The opening of one of the... Also, I would not describe violin plucking as soft.
That is not soft. Ooh, that's not a nice noise.
Well, depending on the skill of the player, it can be delightful at times, but it's used in very specific circumstances for a reason.
That's what I mean. It's not soft. That's no, that's not the word I'd use.
It's very harsh.
It can be delightful, but
Of one of the long musical pieces that have been famous since the Great War.
alright, the Great Warsaw thing. West Channel.
Oh God. Ludwig von Beethoven. His name is... They changed Beethoven to Beethoven.
Beethoven. Yeah, it's so original.
Oh, Curia, you should have you made the list yet of all the
I need to.
lazy renames? You couldn't even think of an original German name. He literally just wrote it as beat off.
Hi, my name is Beethoven. Oh, so that's what you do every night, eh?
Ah, la 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 la.
Oh, at least that explains the suicide.
Woo!
Oof. Oh, he lost his hand, so he couldn't beat off anymore.
Yep.
He got the book and brought it to her. Juniper opening it up, looking at the inscription on the front cover. For Juniper, may your sight always remain pure. He could see that a flourishing hand signature Handwritten, you motherfucker. Scrawled by a
Hand
pocket hand
written.
had been written below. Had been scrawled delicately below.
Scrawled delicately.
The soft thrumming again, not soft. And either it's soft or it's thrumming. One of the two. Of the symphony starting to become master as Juniper looked at the book, her fingers tracing over the pages. Can I get a goodnight kiss, John? Yeah, he'll give you a nice goodnight kiss at a very special place, eh?
Don't give them ideas.
Cock Tip's gonna kiss the cervix.
It was a soft whisper as he leaned in. He originally went for the cheek, but her head turned just that he kissed her lips, a bittersweet look on her face, her expression brightening a little. Her breath smelled of alcohol as she raised the glass to him. Sleep well, John. I love you. Always. She looked unburdened, and he hoped that it'd be like this more often in the future. She shouldn't let the burden of an injury keep her grounded. Sleep well, Junie. I'll see you in the morning. Her smile never quite faded as she turned the page. His eyes locked on her face as he shut the door behind him. She hadn't answered, but it was okay. The glistening teardrops that fell down remained in his mind as he walked to his room, sure that Yang would be waiting for him. She'd said that she'd have something for him, and he was tired. I hope that Juniper can... She was just smiling!
Only smiles now, kitty. Only smiles.
Her smile never quite faded. I hope that Juniper can smile again. She was smiling when you left, you motherfucker!
Listen, he had short-term memory, okay?
Motherfucker.
Object permanence is not a thing here.
He can't see her anymore, so he doesn't think she can smile.
I mean, I've seen this exact thing happen to people around me, okay? The idea of object permanence not being a thing for him doesn't even surprise me at this point.
He pushed the door open, seeing Yang sitting on his bed, dressed in her uniform, her golden hair apparently combed and made it smoother, her eyes warmly gazing at him. Master, I've got a surprise for you. It's gonna be wonderful. Just trust me. Auburn was right. He could trust Yang. No, don't. Because he knew
Please
that
don't.
she'd fight for him. He
No.
enjoyed her presence. Like a favorite pet. Just like a companion of sorts. It wasn't that he was in love. No. Every move she made held grace, and he smiled, her hand gently brushing over his arm, her smell in his nostrils. She was a goddess, and love wasn't allowed, but she is so much like us. As she guided him to the bed, he caught sight of several bottles of Oh no.
Oh no.
Why do you need multiple bottles of lotion? That's just
Skittle.
weird.
Skittle.
If you want to get that to move, just hit the fucking shower already.
Just use oil. My god.
Oil.
Also,
Fucking
just
oil
wanna-
like the Greeks did.
Also, just want to say, too, if you're looking for a slippery experience, don't do it in the shower, because that's a good way to fucking fall and crack your skull open.
Yeah, that would be a benefit in this case.
Her
True,
fingers gently
true.
going up and down his arms, a soft murmur as her lips kissed against his neck, a soft whisper of Master in his ear as her tongue licked over his neck. I can trust her. He could. She was Yang after all. Blake was just another issue that would be confronted later. Yeah, keep on putting it off, buddy. That'll help. He really hoped that having her parents there would make her see sense. She should accept her fate, because if anyone acted like an animal, it was her. How long is this one? Okay, I'll read this one and then I'll have you read the next courier.
Okay.
How far are we?
Not
About
far enough.
halfway. Almost halfway.
Alright. Wait, only halfway? No!
It's 18,000 fucking words!
We have gone for we've gone for an hour and a half. Almost an hour and 45 minutes. And we are only halfway through.
I mean,
Welcome
around
to
30
hell.
minutes of that is also just us shooting the shit, so.
If we
Fair
do
enough.
sex scenes, we will just skim over them.
Alright.
hmm.
Is that... Okay. Alright, Kitty?
Yeah.
Read the dialogue in the sex scenes, don't read the actual description of the sex. We get it. Sex scenes are boring, they're filler, nobody cares.
Yang's fingers rubbed over the skin, slowly rubbing the oil into the flesh. Her eyes watching carefully for the master's response to the touch. The skin under her fingers as light as it was, hearing the creak of the doors behind her, aware of something entering, her senses alert. She could see Tara entering her uniform unruffled. Undoubtedly, the mistress is enjoying herself. She rubbed some more oil onto the skin of his back, brushing over the skin with smooth, flowing motions. Her maid outfit shed for undergarments, something that would keep them intact and able to be worn again if she was sent out. Okay. Mistress Saffron wishes to let you know that she would like the cloth back afterwards. She has ordered me to remain here. It was nice of the woman to at least get the appearance of caring for her brother, even though her homosexual ways were wrong and disgusting. Yang rubbed the skin a little harder. Master, are you comfortable? He would not be harmed again. He would live a happy life and remain as he was, because it mattered that he smiled. She smelled the oil that mixed with his natural scent, leaning closer to sniff him, the soft chuckle from his lips growing a little heavier. Such a good master. She'd make sure that here would be pleasure, much more than just the dregs the kitten could provide for him. With her... Oh,
Go on.
that's so terribly written.
Go on. Let's hear it.
She'd make sure that there would be pleasure, comma, much more than just the dregs that the kitten could provide, comma, for him, period.
Damn, that's disgusting.
That second comma is completely unfucking necessary and breaks up the entire flow of the sentence.
Try and
I
read
mean,
the
at least
entire
it's
thing
not-
on one.
At least it's not fucking every sentence has like 16 ellipses in it, so.
Anymore.
Kitty,
I mean,
try
it
reading
pops
the
up every
entire...
now and again, so. But still, compared to the first few chapters where it was literally every time he was talking, it had to have like a dozen ellipses. Jam.
Were you saying, well?
I was gonna say, try and read the entire sentence out without choking yourself to death.
She'd make sure that there would be pleasure, much more than just the dregs that the kitten could provide, for him.
It's like you're unsure what you're reading. It's so good because it's so awful.
With her body, she would make him feel that burning desire. Her boobies brushed against his back as his response came. With you, I'm very comfortable. She grinned, rubbing her chest against his... She was behind him.
Nani? The fuck?
Her breasts rubbed against his back as his response came. She grinned, rubbing her chest against his own. Chest is in the front. Her hands grabbing a hold of his shoulders and starting to rub down. The master deserves nothing when he raised him when the little kitten's father and mother come here. Wait. Wait. The master deserves nothing but the greatest of joys. When the little kitten's father and mother come here, she will submit or she will get destroyed.
Ja, da, comrade.
Da, comrade. Blake would serve or be broken. She would not allow anyone to steal him away from her through the death's door. Just say she won't let anybody kill him, you motherfucker.
No, he needs to be flowery because it's just like those novels he read.
She let her eyes slide to Tara, who took a spot on the foot of the bed, standing there. The master's body resting calmly there. If there was a need, she would defend him. I'm trying to hold out hope. I hope that she'll turn out better than when she's with. I hope she'll turn out better when she's with her parents. You've certainly become even better. Compared to what? A whore?
Compared to a genocidal ISIS member.
She smiled as she leaned down and kissed her master on the cheek. He was charming in his own way, her nose bumping against his cheek.
No, charming in his own way. Charming in his own way is what you say when you have nothing good to say about them.
I got a surprise for you, master. But first, I want to make sure that you smell wonderful. There is such a thing as an appeal to all the senses, you know?
What's with the Russian accent?
I don't know.
I don't know where I do it. I must.
I'm just trying to entertain myself, Nikolai.
Ramirez, attack Burger King!
There's a
Ramirez!
certain type of hell that is there for people who cannot speak properly. I imagine some fucking poor Russians listening to this and like, oh, this fucking asshole.
I'm just
You're
imagining a
you're insulting all of the Ivans and Igors out there, man. You apologize to them.
Fuck you.
I'm just
Ivan.
a,
Vodka sucks.
I'm just imagining a Russian sitting there and she's just like, Master, please me with your cock. Meanwhile, he's just thinking, why did the Soviet Union dissolve because of this?
The Soviet Union dissolved and we're stuck with this now.
Why? Why, God?
Why did we dissolve the Soviet Union? Oh.
We tried to genocide these.
Why did we reject the Kaiser?
Ave, true to Kaiser.
She liked it when her man smelled good. No liquor. No, he's already been drinking, so you're out of luck there. No sweat except the sweat she conjured with her act. Scent compatibility is a big thing with fertility, where if you think the person you're with doesn't smell good, like you don't like the smell of their sweat, then you're probably not well compatible with them.
There's a whole thing of why people cohabitate with each other for a few months to see if they can, like, actually tolerate each other for long periods of time before they decide to get fucking married. Or have relationships for
Like,
long periods of time.
If I was fucking a girl and I did not like how she smelled when I was fucking her, then there's a problem. That's my body saying, no, stop this. This is not good for you. You're not going to produce healthy, strong kids.
That's an interesting thing I didn't know about. Is that something you're just supposed to learn when you're doing it? It's just, oh yeah, you don't like how she smells, go away.
That's in my AP biology class in high school.
Well, you guys also cut up animals, so I don't know.
Thanks.
I mean, I cut up animals in my free time.
Excuse me?
I was a scout. We went hunting.
Huh.
I did it for educational purposes. Exactly. Fuck you. Well.
Alright, children, please line up. I will see how many I can shoot straight through with one bullet for educational purposes.
But we got Courier, who actually got to do dissections, and you got me, who had to fucking skin and cook animals.
And I had to go through the same thing with seer training.
What a lovely combination we got here. Anyway, let's continue.
Yes. She liked when her man smelled good, no sweat except the sweat she conjured with her actions, so she likes her own sweat, which is weird. Her finger pulling him onto his back, her body raising a little. He smiled at her and patted her head, the broad grin directed at him like a charm to his eyes. You sound like Ash. A young gentleman should be prepared to smell perfect. Look perfect, and be as perfect in manners. You will not be allowed like lesser people. I was born as the only boy, so I had to be groomed perfectly. She didn't think the crocodile would much appreciate being compared with her, given how halting their interactions had been. But it was a compliment from the master. She was going to do her best because he had pulled her from the shadows and into the light. You are a blessing to me, master.
From the shadows of freedom into the light of sexual slavery.
Her lips pressed his own into a kiss. It wasn't like earlier, but she felt he needed it. He was a man she loved, regardless of how it would look. No more would he be hurt because of someone who would dare to interfere. She would make him into a man that could demand the respect of anyone coming. I'll deserve to kneel before you. She looked over his lips, looking into his eyes. It was not hesitation that she felt, but eagerness. Something inside her twisted and burned. Looking into those eyes, she felt connection as her hands locked into his with grip. I am blessed to have you. I wish that you would be around me forever. She would be. Her fingers gripped his a little tighter, and she looked into his eyes, giving a soft smile. For as long as I breathe, I promise you. She kept her promises, and she knew that he would keep his promise. It was not right, but it was time. She knew that he would love her, and he looked content. She never wanted him to feel like he had before. He was her happiness. If anyone dared to hurt her happiness, they would find a very unhappy Yang in their half. Anyone who harms what is mine will be destroyed.
Kitty, that was some beautiful bullshit.
Oh, I'm fucking terrible.
I honestly thought for a second that Discord was slowed down and I just heard you at rapid speed. How much of this chapter is pure sex?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Go ahead. It's your turn now.
Oh, what? Sorry, I'm playing the Orcs in Dawn of War. What's going on?
It's your turn
right.
to read now.
God damn it! I was going through the biggest wah. Fucking
Wah!
son of a bitch.
The only wah that matters is our wah against our sanity.
Mm.
Yeah,
God damn it, you fuckwits and you Slaanesh cult worshippers.
Quote, Master Jean, I will be accompanying you tonight, end quote.
Okay. Master Jean, I will be accompanying you tonight. Terra sounded unconcerned, and he had a momentary flash of worry appear on his face. Saffron might need her fondness. He wasn't going to leave his sister without her attendant. What if Saffron needs you? Are you sure that she'll be okay? Terra's face looked placid as her head bobbed once in a short nod, acknowledging it thusly. Mr. Saffron has decided to retire to bed at 8. Your appearance earlier has flustered her. He winced. Saffron always had been weak around blood. It wasn't something that she could stop, except when she fucks everyone. Fainting when the sight of it became clear to her eyes. She never slept well, but she was planning on sleeping. It seemed.
How does she spend time with people who are bleeding out their mouths and then say, oh yeah, I don't like blood?
I don't know.
Bleeding out their mouths and or anuses.
Anuses, vaginas, probably. Yeah. Have you given her some sleeping medication? A small nod from Terra confirmed that as he relaxed, Yang's face appearing before his own. Allow me, master. I'm going to blind your vision with a silken blindfold for a little treat. Worry not, you will be safe. She held up the silken cloth. Terra looked aware and alert, but he smelled. Little Yang smelled as well, her fingers draping the cloth over his eyes and then tying it behind his head. It was an awkward sensation, but it wasn't unpleasant. It's okay, Yang. Here, Terra gave a soft little sound as he felt someone sit down on the bed, her hand stroking through his hair, the smell of Terra coming from the hand. That smell that was much like his own sister's. She's still in the room. Lady Saffron said that she'd be in her personal room to rest. He felt the softness of the fingers, blah, 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 blah. Are you feeling okay, Terra? The hand stopped, and the sound of Terra's soft laugh was audible as the faunus seemed to consider her answer for a moment. He hoped that the slave would be okay, and he felt the warmth in his muscles. His top was bare, but he still wore pants. When I can be of service to you, Master Jean, even Mistress Saffron would hardly object. She cares. For her, you are a priceless treasure, even for me. A soft sigh as he felt the hand continue, and then felt soft lips against his own in a kiss. It was different from Yang, more chaste and soft, but it was still a kiss. This is for your pleasure, Master Jean. Your pet, I am not sure, but she loves you. Love. It should not exist between a human and an animal. A fawn is never to be. She just appreciates me. She has to only appreciate me. It's Master Jean is presumptuous of me to speak like this, but if the daughter of the Panther acts out again, I will ensure that she cannot. I will not let anything happen to Mr. Saffron because a child thinks she knows the world. It was appreciation, care, perhaps affection that made Terra say those things, words that were spoken softly. sounding much like the lines from the movies. She's just an animal. You can't tame an animal if it's too wild. You're an animal as well, Tara. So was Yang, but it didn't feel like that. Faunus were always animals, and they did horrible things to people. They hated him. They wanted to hurt his family for something that his grandfather did. Then I am an animal who will obey her owner. It may be hard for a human to understand, but I am loyal. She's mine, and you are mine too. If the little panther slanders Miss Saffron again, I will gouge out her eyes and feed them to her because she is blind. Your grandfather was right. All things must die. He smiled. Tara had stopped to stroke his hair, but her words were kind and understanding, defensive of his sister. It was a shame that she'd not be able to have her aura unlocked. He'd barely known what it was, but you're a good pet, Tara. I'm happy that Saffron likes you. Do you still? Tara's affirmative sound was soft in the air as her hand continued with its stroking motion. The door opening slowly and Yang's footfalls sounded, her body moving as someone was pushed forward, a low hiss from his faunus at the other one to get in. Master, I have brought you a new slave. She's a newly collared one, and she's used goods or whatever, but she's a newly collared one. But I assume that she or her sister will prove most satisfactory to your cravings. Kneel, slave, a soft exhale and a whisper as someone knelt, the sound of someone giving a sharp tug to something in a sound as air was being choked off before Yang Sharp's voice called out. Crawl, show the master who the slave is that is going to be the best damn slave for his cook. Yeah, except he has a blindfold on, so he can't actually see any of this, so it doesn't fucking matter. He could hear her move, crawling over the floor like the animal that she was. Yang's amused laughter as a smacking sound was heard. Tara's hand lifted up, Tara tensing up a little. Come on, that's a good little slave. He isn't going to look at a disgusting brat like you. Oh, no, no, no. Do you really think I'd forgotten about that time? No, I didn't. It's time for you to pay attention to the master. Master Jean, I have a kitten for you. That is a... Yang paused as a smacking sound was heard, a sharp hiss of someone hissing in pain. As Yang's voice turned angrier, do not drip onto the floor. We've got to clean that up, and I know you'll be a degenerate fuck toy either way, but I'm not going to be cleaning your mess up. He heard the faint... No, this is This is what I was gonna say when I was reading ahead or whatever. I looked ahead. I thought this was his sister because that's one of the later chapters. It's just the fucking cat girl. So it's not Blake.
Was it one of the
I thought it
different
would.
ones?
Yeah, don't worry. The fucking thing about him wearing a blindfold will become extremely important because he will fuck his sister at some point.
Also, with all this mention about the Great War and the grandfather and all that stuff, why did it say that World War it's supposed to be World War One? Why?
World War One, yeah.
Yeah, why do they refer to it as if it ended slavery?
I don't know.
Because
doesn't-
Vale is Britain, apparently.
I guess so. It
Wait, wouldn't have solved slavery long before World
The
War
US
One?
long before the US did actually in
That's true.
1865.
That was in the 1860s.
Yeah,
What are you on about?
I don't know. He
Are you
heard the
talking
faint.
about?
I don't
sorry.
fucking know.
No,
He heard the
fucking
faint. Nobody fucking knows. Nobody cares. He heard the faint shivering sound as the slave inhaled. Yang's growl of irritation clearly there. He smelled a third scent that become added to the woman around him as Yang seemed to regard Tara for a moment. Also, your fucking nose is not that good. Fuck off. Master Jean needs you to pull his pants down, Tara. Please assist. Oh, and you can watch how a good and obedient slave works, little one. Blah blah blah. Here comes the porn, so I'm gonna start skipping this. Blah blah blah. Tara pulls his underwear off. Blah blah blah. She strokes his dick. He knew that Faunus had night vision and that they sometimes could detect scents better than others, but did Yang really have to say it like that? Yeah, because she wants slave to smell his scent or something. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. You have to be strong in order to dominate people or lead or something. I don't know. To be a slave owner. Blah blah blah. Kitty starts sucking his dick, licking his balls.
Don't
Blah blah
call
blah.
me.
Licka, licka, licka.
I'm
Licka,
not
licka.
doing this. What?
Yeah, blah blah blah. Suck his dick, lick his balls. Apparently she doesn't suck his dick good enough, so then Yang does it. Slightly, or shows her how to suck a dick properly or something, and then she shows Tara how to suck a dick properly because everyone is sucking his dick now, I
Licka,
guess.
licka, licka.
Kisses Tara some more. Makes the kitty lick Tara's ass for some weird reason. Or give her a rim job or something, I don't know. Oh yeah, he fucked Tara, I guess, instead of the cat, because I don't know. So, fuck Tara, not the cat. Cat's jealous or something, I guess, maybe.
Inside. I think it comes inside. Yeah.
No, they have condoms.
Boring.
Fucking has the kitty, or after he fucks Tara, then he fucks the cat. Has the cat give a kiss to his cheek because it's not worthy to kiss his lips or something. Yeah, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, also Auburn comes in at some point while they're fucking and just sits there really creepily and watches them and makes weird noises.
So,
Apparently.
Vol, we just skimmed over a third of the fucking chapter.
No way! No fucking way!
All of that was crappy smut, unworthy of being read.
You know what's... No, this is why. This fic justifies one thing in my mind, and it's that smut is not writing. It's filler. It's pure filler. It does nothing. It serves no purpose. It's just there to be there. Because the writer is uncreative and doesn't actually have anything interesting in mind for what he.
I was going to say, make sure you differentiate between sex and smut, though. So, because you can write a good sex scene or an interesting sex scene or whatever, but that's different from smut. So.
Well, yeah, this is not a sex scene. This is smut scene.
This is smut, yeah. Okay, so yeah, blah blah blah. Fucking people suck his dick. He fucks Tara and then the cat and then everything. And then, like I said, Auburn comes in at some point and is all fucking creepy.
Yep.
Blah blah blah.
And then
Yeah.
moves to take the fucking slave to.
Yeah, and then Yang takes the cat slave and is going to put her back in fucking Saffron's room. So anyway, that's where the fucking next thingy begins. Yang looked into the slave's eyes before she threw her onto the bed. Stay, bitch. Stay here and don't act out, or I'll make sure that you'll walk with your arms instead of your legs. It has not performed as well as it should have. She should fix it. She would need to fix it and hopefully make sure that it obeyed. She hated displeasing her master, but that was what made the breaking fun. A soft groan as Yang gave a kick for good measure, pale skin glistening with sweat and juices. The smell was strong, but Yang did not care. The condom was emptied over the face of the slave as she laid there on the bed, groaning from the pain. Yang hoped it'd bruise as the cum fucking went on her face. We're going to have a lot of fun, you and I. Tara is a good little dog. She's obedient, and I'd like to call her a friend. We'll get you used to the master's cool. She clicked the collar into the wall and then let the slave rest before going to the bedroom that belonged to Saffron Ark, the formal one. Apparently, she'd been in there once or twice to clean, opening the door slowly and spotting the yellow hair of the woman in the bed on the pillow. Her brow furrowed at the sight and the smell, but she didn't comment, shutting the door behind her. Sleep well, bitch. She had to attend to Juniper Ark, a woman who seemed to be strict but also tolerant. Her knock on the door was greeted with a quiet, "Who is it?" from behind the door. It's Master Jean's slave, Yang. She responded as was the proper form, even with her undressed state as it was. Formality was not required at this hour. As long as she obeyed, she could get away unscathed. Come in. I've fallen out of bed. The door opened with a light squeak. Yang, spotting the woman laid on the ground, a thick book on the bed, opened up to a page that held a drawing on it. As she neared the woman, her eyes went around the room. A music player was still on, but the music had faded. The woman laid on the ground, her hands trying to push herself up again. Let's get you back into bed, Mistress Juniper. The woman's eyes were deep and blue as they looked at her. Yang noticed that she'd been crawling away from the bed, undoubtedly to change the musical number. It might have been determination, but the woman was stubborn. Also, why doesn't she have a fucking wheelchair? Anyway. Yang lifted the woman up, smelling the pleasant shampoo in her hair, the smell of someone who'd been washed, putting her back onto the bed. The human woman looked so frail and helpless, unable to move her legs. Could you give me my rifle? It rolled away from the bed, undoubtedly. It laid near the closet. She smiled a little as she picked it up and set it next to the woman against the table. The
How does the rifle roll away?
I don't know. The barrel pointing up towards the ceiling. Thank you, and the woman's eyes looked at her for the longest of times as she took a deep breath, seemingly to find the words to say. Do you think you could change the music? There's a disc on the 7th slot, and I'd like to listen to it. Yang moved quickly to fulfill the order as she heard a soft laugh behind her, a wry and hurt laugh, the handicapped woman seemingly amused and pained. She could hear the soft clink of a glass as the sound of someone drinking was audible to her sharp ears. It was soft, and yet it was light. It's silly, little dear. The woman's voice was sad, she could tell. She found the disc and changed it. The classical music disc put back in the case, put in the order, the music starting softly, a song that sounded sad and mournful, as if the world was crying out for something captured in musical form. I know you've got your aura unlocked, Yang. She froze up, staring at the woman, Juniper Ark's hand raising the glass as the musical accompaniment to the song kept going, a high voice singing in a language that she could barely follow, the crippled Ark looking at her. Thank you for defending my brother. The woman's hand raised the glass a little in a toast before she drank it. The woman's eyelids closed and Yang could see tears leak from them, a soft groan coming from her lips. How did you know? A bitter, cruel smile as she looked into blue eyes, a slow exhale through her nose. The woman's eyes looked sharply for a moment before a little smile slipped onto her face. Your aura flickered when she hit you. I'm not sure why I didn't inform them. It felt. The woman gazed at her, giving a smile that was sad and yet happy, her eyes clear. You were making love. Funny, isn't that? An animal with a human. They're better. And it was like you just. A dark look crossed the woman's face as she wiped at her eyes with her free hand. A sad, twisted look in them as she motioned for the bottle on the bedside table. Pour me a drink, Yang, was a request, the voice not sounding commanding in the slightest, as Yang obeyed and poured. The bottle was nearly empty, the woman drinking another glass in a single long drink. Yang could smell the liquor as she looked at her. I lost my legs, thanks to you. Thanks to Jean. Yang felt bad for the woman, whose eyes looked accusing, the guilty feeling wrapping around her. She felt bad for the woman as the Ark looked at her. Love him, girl. It's the least you can do. I love this part. A sound of cannons firing as Juniper's hand rose to indicate the music player, the boxes sounding the musical notes after the cannon fire. The final elegy of the Great War, the revolution part plays afterwards, and the singer changed to a tenor, the man speaking of the Faunus Rights Revolution, the conflict that her people had lost. Yang could hear the strong and resonant voice speak about the fight at Fort Castle, the part where General Ark had fought against the Faunus in their fate. Juniper eyes were closed as the choir started to sing, representing the Faunus, singing of the slavery that was their fate, a newer symphony less than 30 years old. Yang could hear beauty as it spoke of the four and their folly. She should feel pain, she should feel something more about the humiliation of her people, but she could not. She looked at the woman whose eyes opened, the tears coming from her. Eyes opened, the tears coming from them. A slow sob coming from her lips as a male voice sang, the female choir ceasing. You would do it to us, Yang. This song reminds us of the pain. It reminds us of our tragedy. Yang's eyes closed, listening to the music, sad tones, an orchestral movement starting up as she touched her horns, touching them softly. Her eyes opened and she heard
He
the woman
touched
address her.
and touched.
Touch,
Alright.
touch, eyes, touch, eye, touch, eyes.
It was just how little it added. It wasn't the
God,
repeated
times.
usage of it.
I was gonna say because it says as she touched her horns, touching them softly, you could just say she softly touched her horns. Wow.
She
Fantastic.
softly caressed the horns.
Gently.
Yeah.
He softly caressed the horns. Gently. Ever so gently. Actually get some living dialogue in there, but no.
What Faunus are you, Yang? She looked in the woman's eyes and she sighed, kneeling before the bed. Your brother's mate. She received a look that was soft as she felt a hand touch her horns. The woman's eyes peering into her own with a look that she couldn't place. Then be like that, my dear. Don't tell me. Do you know the one named Bai Ming? She couldn't say that she had, as it showed on her face. Her father might have mentioned the name once or twice, but that was old people stuff. Juniper Ark held the book up for her to see. The greatest tactician in the world, Bai Meng. The art of warfare is used to train officers and huntsmen alike. Great-grandfather had an original signed copy of the work, signed by the author. First printing. It is stored within the family vault. The woman exhaled, a bitter look on her face. There was pain in the eyes as they looked at Yang, with a look that spoke volumes. Juniper's eyes were sad as she brushed her fingers. The first thing my teacher taught me was that you should always plan appropriately for every situation. I was caught off guard because I did not expect it, also because your fucking villa mansion has 0 guards and 0 security. But anyway,
But they do have the Assassin's Creed.
Well, she
yeah,
was the guard, so
I was gonna say no. That makes no sense because later on, like I said, they have the equivalent of the Faunus Assassin's Creed living under their house. They have
so
like
stupid.
they have like 100 trained Faunus guards who are like fucking assassins, and it's just they fucking use them for nothing.
The fun ass and order.
Yeah, the Von Assen order. Yang wanted to say something, but words failed her, the older woman looking at her and giving a beautiful smile. I like this part a lot. A thrumming string quartet turning into darker tones, the thunder of lightning in the air through some sort of musical enhancement as Juniper Ark's fingers found the barrel of her rifle, holding onto it, raising the weapon slowly and then settling it down. The woman's eyes were closed. The salute for the fallen, those who died during the massacre at Fort Castle. Grandfather pressed our forces to kill
Fort
every last...
Castle, really?
Yeah. Grandfather pressed our forces to kill every last bastard that bore Faunus blood. A female choir, shrill voices begging for mercy, silenced by male voices as the woman's eyes leaked tears. It sounded terrible but beautiful as the male voices overpowered the female choir, Juniper's eyes opening once more and looking at her. A terrible symphony, one of pain and one of anguish. Servitude or death, the final decree. Slavery it once again shall be, the Faunus never again free. The words were spoken by a strong male voice, familiar somewhat in tone, as the female choir was silenced once more. The scream... What?
I was just gonna say, I hate people that describe music in books instead of having the fucking balls to just write it out, unless
Yeah.
it's in between dialogue, like Kitty does.
Mm-hmm.
Where those things that they are relating to the music actually very relevant to the conversation at hand. When it's shit like this, where they're going back and forth, describing music instead of just decide whether you want for it to be relevant to the talk or to relevant to the scene, or whether you just want it to be a text dump. Pick one or the other. This Frankenstein bullshit never works. It's never good to read, and everyone skims it or just skips it.
Yeah. As the female choir was silenced once more, the screams of children and adults mingled together as Juniper eyes regarded her. My grandfather spared your kind from genocide, thanks to the actions of the panther. Sometimes I wish he hadn't. The musical instruments matched the pace of the screams as the male tenors added their cries, Juniper's eyes meeting hers. The pain we suffered, Yang, the pain your kind hurt us so much, which is why we enslaved you. Ash told me about the hate you have for those who are different born. And I don't understand. Why would you hate your own race? Yang sighed, the screams and musical accompaniment to those screams coming still from the speakers. She looked down and sighed. Aberrations, abominations, all the vestige of those ones who were deemed to be unsuitable for the masses. They are not regarded well. Some of us can blend in, some of us can't. Never let them know who you are, Yang. Remember who you are and that you are my daughter. Fucking over thing from her dad, probably. Juniper looked barely surprised. Yeah, Juniper looked barely surprised as Yang realized that she'd just confirmed her own status. She looked into the older sister of the man she loved, whose eyes were sad. But you're all the same. Why would you even? The four were blind to see that. She should be insulted, and she was sure that most others would be insulted as well, but Juniper Ark's eyes didn't change from their incomprehension, her head turning a little, looking her over. What are you, Yang? Others can't see it because they see the horns and immediately assume. The music turned tragic, slow sweeping tones as the woman looked at her, and Yang denied her once more. I am your brother's mate. I'm not hiding from my love. The topic was dangerous, but she felt compelled to speak of it, seeing the morose state that she was in. She felt bad for the woman as Juniper Ark looked at her for a while. Hand me the notepad on the desk as well as a pen, all right? I need to write a message. Yang did as she handed the notepad to the woman, who started to write on it with a flowing script, the pen scratching the paper lightly, leaving a dark ink behind to form words. I'm sorry, father, mother. I love you all. Check the third book on the bookshelf. Sorry, Camilla.
Sorry.
Alia lacta est. Is that fucking Latin?
That's Latin. S is always used as in Latin.
Yeah, okay. It didn't make much sense to her, the woman setting the pen on the bedside table. Juniper Ark looked at her with a smile growing on her lips, one that showed beauty and something that was acceptance. Whoever you are, I'm happy that you are there for my brother. Thank you for defending him and keep on doing that in the future. She saw something in those eyes, a shiver that she felt going down her spine as the musical number slowly started to change. Deeper bass and thrilling notes as Juniper Ark folded the sheet of paper once and tucked it below her pillow, seemingly not to forget its existence in the morning. I'm not a deer, no, I'm not. I said I wouldn't speak of it. She could admit that much, as Juniper gave a terse smile in understanding, knowing what keeping one's word meant. A soft hissing breath escaped her lips as she looked at the glass in her hands, then at the bottle. I guess we're draining the bottle now. Faunus, at the gates of Fort Castle, when the army was camped there, my grandfather defied the kingdoms. Alia lacta est, the die is cast, there's no return from the threshold. Anger in those eyes, a blazing flame that startled her in the intensity as Juniper looked at her and smiled. It was a smile of a predator, of something that tore at the throat and bit, as those blue eyes were like steel. No return from crossing that road. We wanted blood, Faunus blood. We wanted revenge for what you had done to us. Grandfather spoke as if he was the king and they were but the soldiers that he commanded. And so you killed the four. She looked down and Juniper's soft laugh was audible, a light laugh as if nothing bothered her anymore. Go back to my little brother, Yang. Know that you will never have to bother with my interference with who you love. Ah, I love this part of the music. It ends with a bang and then silence. It was a dismissal and she left, as was ordered, wanting to make sure that the woman was left alone, the mournful cries of a female choir that sang about their husbands and son lost to the Faunus. Her spirit dampening a little, her fingers tugging on the collar around her throat. She opened the door, watching how the woman finished her drink and looked at her. The rifle was in the woman's hands, and she'd ran her fingers over the barrel, opening it up to check the inner workings. Yang could understand wanting a little bit of protection, especially when crippled. The stock was slowly unscrewed as she turned around. I don't blame you for what your grandfather did. With monsters such as Adam Taurus, I would do the same. She kept the man she loved safe from those people. She saw Terra seated on the bed with the master, his arm wrapped around the dog Faunus, whose eyes looked at her with a question. That weird sister appeared from behind the door, Yang feeling her brush past her. A look that accused her in those eyes as the woman mouthed a soft "why didn't you" at her before passing by her, her master's arms wrapping around her and a kiss placed against her lips. Tara smiled at the two of them before she got up and then left for her mistress's room, before suddenly, Yang felt a sense of dread wrapping around her. The sound of a rifle's dust round being fired and exploding came from a few doors down the hall. Jean getting up in alarm from the bed. There was fear in his eyes, worry and panic. Oh no.
I'd be worried too if somebody just find a gun in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you not fucking see the warning signs now? Okay, I guess you didn't.
Nobody looks at the warning signs.
Yeah,
because
because
retarded.
yeah.
And now it's
Oh, fuck.
time.
I'll read I was gonna say I'll read this last part because you always make me read Blake. It's fine. Blake Belladonna did not like this one bit. Being locked in this tiny cage with someone else was hard, making her uncomfortable, which must have been the deer's idea of punishment. The tame dog and the deer had both humiliated her and her friends, undoubtedly bringing the other twin to the raping bastard who would be bringing her orgasms. He shouldn't be with anyone but me. Why does a simple deer have to give what I can't? He should be raping me every night, not being with some lesser Faunus. They were so common, she supposed, but they were allies. She needed allies, knowing that there would be few in this place. Several of the Faunus had walked past and spat on her, their eyes looking at her with disgust. She hadn't called out, knowing that it was futile. Their disgust with her was undoubtedly because they had submitted to the rule of humanity. So what do you know about the blonde? Her friend would tell her more, she knew. She'd known the deer before she'd been plucked off the streets by the master. The man's raping shaft actually pleasuring the deer. It wasn't allowed. To let her rapist lay with another. She should not allow anyone. Even her father had fought for her mother, or so her mother had said. She's a bitch. Pretty, but bad at learning. Can you, I don't know, shift a bit? My arm's hurting. Blake tried to shift a little, one of the slaves passing by spitting on the floor before them. There was a look of scornful disdain on the face of the slave woman as she looked dressed to serve in the house. The set of ears on her curving to the back, the woman continued onwards, a murmur of moron coming from her lips. Just you wait. Freedom is what we'll get when we're rising again. Uppity, proud, Sis had to go and make sure that she'd been to the will. The girl had been bought by mother. A loose contract that stipulated a few things, but was
I
born
just
to be-
realized what all of these Blake scenes remind me of. It's a Monty Python sketch. It's a fucking Monty Python sketch. It's just this one character that's just constantly talking about Viva la Revolutionaire.
Viva la revolution!
And then everyone else around them were like, "Can you move, please? I just want to get through."
Can you shut the fuck up? Please shut up.
Yeah, it's just a fucking sketch every single time. And this is supposed to be a night shitty. That's what gets me. That's what drives me up a fucking wall. I've seen slow burns. I have seen almost pretty much non-existing burns. But this just falls advertisement. And I know I say that every single time this part of the chapters come up, but they're just wasted space. We don't learn anything new. It's the same fucking plot points every single time. Like talks about revolution, nobody cares. She gets punished by one of the characters, or it's threatened to be punished, and we move on.
Talking about it, yeah. Because nobody ever learns. She was a faunus and mother was human, so why should she care about a few words? Wait, her mother was human? Disgust welled up inside her. Humans were disgusting and shouldn't ever be mated with. That the traitors would even dare to consider them equal or better was wrong. That makes sense, I guess. It didn't, but Blake knew that she had few allies as it was. The revolution was built on the backs of those who sacrificed themselves for the greater good. The greater good, the ox had always said, as the tiger knew and listened to his advice. Yeah, I don't know how she got so strong or so confident, but it's like night and day. Not quite the girl that blown a dog for our amusement. No. It was sick and disgusting to do, but this was a friend, even if she was even if she was a disgusting, filthy, impure spawn.
Alright, where's the horse rape? I'm really looking forward to it now.
It's the horse rape isn't of Blake, unfortunately. She was a predator, so it was natural that she'd feel some kinship with those of her fellow lineage. The thought of Yang doing such a thing to an animal brought an almost savage glee to her heart, as her new friend seemed to continue, telling some tale of the past, the deer having been meek and submissive. Not so much now, are you? Don't steal from your betters. The rapist will get what he deserves, and he deserves a panther's daughter, rather than some mere herbivore who does not know her true superiors. Blake startled as someone's presence registered nearby, her head whipping to the side to look into blue eyes that seemed to see everything and nothing, their depths dulled, and yet with that power within them,
And yet,
blah,
with
blah,
that
blah.
power within them that made her shiver, something less than sanity in their depths.
Thank you.
God, that's a terrible sentence.
I know. An Ark. She could see the look on the Ark's face, remembering faintly that this was the youngest one of the rapist's older sisters, even as her friend had fallen silent. The inferior human genes must be working up, or it was because the young...
Inferior human gene!
Yeah, because she's fucking smart enough to stay silent? Oh, wow. Inferior human genes, indeed. Or it was because the young woman held a position of power, crouching down on the ground before the cage, an awkward seating method that looked a little harder to balance. Hello? Blake gave a look at the woman as her friend called out to her. The pretty white sundress that she wore unstained by anything, a soft whisper of something about etiquette in her ear as the girlish look in those eyes fixated on her. Are you the one who came to fetch us? Blake grabbed the bars, righting herself. She was filthy, her clothes reeked of urine, and she probably would have had the smell in her nostrils for a while, but she would not submit to the authority of some human. It was an Ark, and she would not be humiliated by one of them ever again. I wish for you to get raped. Be a good mother to a faunus like you should, you worthless addle-brained girl.
I wish you to be raped. I wish that actually stood out to me as a, holy shit line of bad dialogue, but at this point it's like the highlight.
Yeah, I wish for you to get raped. Be a good mother to a faunus like you should, you worthless addle-brained girl. The Ark's lips parted in a silent laugh, something in those eyes changing. There was a chill in them as the young woman seemed to mull over the words. Blake saw a challenge. If she could make the young woman cry, perhaps she'd go away. What? No words, you sick and depraved bitch? I will make sure that your brother will never birth a human child. That stupid deer will love his raping cock and never consider the disgusting filth that she lives in. We should have taken more of your lives, rather than let you live with the shame. Blue eyes narrowed softly as Blake felt a chill go over her spine. Something was looking at her with eyes that did not see her, as her friend shifted a little. She's got nothing to do with me, mistress. I'm just in a cage with her. Please don't punish me. The blue eyes looked at her friend, the gaze shifting to something that might be considered disdain. It was loathing, perhaps a little more than that, as the human never seemed to hold her in her eyes. Your brother's cock is weak. It will never birth an heir, nor will it ever make you come. You sick bastards will never enslave me. I am pure born. Her words did not
I'm
phase
married.
the ark. Her words did not phase the ark as the cruel monster with blonde hair got up, the blue eyes never quite leaving her. Her friend was unsteady as she breathed in and out rapidly, the woman touching the cage for a moment and watching her with a steady look. No words, huh? A soft touch to her cheek, as if someone brushed past it, looking into blue eyes that seemed to carry a hint of boundless sadism. She doesn't mean it. She's not with me. Blake saw something flicker past her, and her friend went silent and limp, an umbrella-like weapon having smacked against the faunus girl's cheek. The weapon pulled back, the shattering sound audible to her ears as mismatched pink and brown eyes looked at her, a petite form looking at her and giving a mocking bow, lips pursed into a soft smile, as something in brown and pink's eyes seemed to beckon at her like an insult. The outfit that the girl wore looking like it belonged somewhere in a book, the umbrella's tip lengthening into a long, thin blade. Hey! A cocky smirk as the short girl did a little twirl, giving a sunny smile that held some sort of sick urge in it, as the shape changed to the wrong-minded Ark girl again. Whatever magic or illusion it was, the Auburn Ark was a monster that shouldn't look so happy at her, with a look that promised pain, flickering into a perfect copy of her and then shifting right back to the smaller form of Auburn Ark, dress changing once again, smirking broadly and skipping off with a little bounce to her step, the umbrella held in her hand loosely. Blake didn't like this one bit. Her friend was unconscious and someone was playing tricks on her. Author's note. Yes, that was who you think it was. Until next time, I look forward to your comments.
Who was that supposed to be? I didn't.
Neo.
Oh, that was the ice cream bullshit. I was waiting
Yeah.
for it to pop up.
And say an umbrella. I was gonna say an umbrella weapon, mismatched pink and brown eyes. Yeah.
That was fucking awful.
Not impressed.
It was impressively bad, actually.
I was not impressed in terms of, oh yeah, he's Neo. No shit.
Yang's holding the idiot ball this chapter. I don't think Juniper could have made it any more clear what her plan was without writing suicidal in block capitals on her forehead.
I am going to blow my brains out at exactly this time.
I was gonna say, why Yang's IQ suddenly dropped to 0? Juniper was clearly depressed and had a loaded gun in her hands. Wasn't it obvious that she was gonna kill herself the moment she was left alone?
Her a loaded gun?
I was gonna say, she gave away so many red flags, there was practically a sign on her head that read dead by tomorrow. Fuck Yang, she told you not to touch or pick it up. Why don't these people listen to Auburn? She's just crazy. It's not like anything she's ever mentioned has happened. Fucking idiots.
I just like the fact that... Oh, that was supposed to be a suicide scene?
Yeah, of the gun, hearing the gun go off, yeah.
I was laughing at...
set up to suicide.
I was laughing because I didn't... I was laughing at it because I thought that was fucking funny. Like, that was so out of nowhere, it's just, oh yeah, there's a gun. And I was like, oh, that was supposed to be a surprise. Oh.
Also, one more thing. Also, Blake's logic is amusing. The rapist will get what he deserves. Me, because I'm a superior faunus breed.
I am the superior whore.
I'm the superior whore.
I'm an essential worker.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, I almost laughed in that